始めちゃって、もうすぐ。
そうそうそう。
1分ぐらい。
1分だった。はい。Testing, testing. Testing, testing.
Does this chair go?
Okay.
I don't want to be this high. Wait.
You're perfect. We're aligned.
Okay, so that's... All right, so I guess we're going to start this interview any moment now. I think we're waiting for, we'll wait for a little bit of confirmation from the other room that the translation is happening. Give me 1 second. 通訳始まったら確認したいんです。そう、今聞こえない。だから、大丈夫? Okay. All right. Well, this is very exciting. Welcome again to the conference. I know you've been here now for 2 days, but we're very happy to have you here in Japan. It's great that you can join us in person.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It has been on my list for 2012 to come here, so we're now 2024, so it took us a while.
Yeah, it took us a little while for you to join. Before, I think everybody has been, in the hall having a beer. Feel free, everyone, to grab a drink or something. I'm going to have some of the Japanese sake, and I'd like to offer you some if you'd like to try a drink.
I will pause. I will keep water. If I start drinking sake right now, I will be drunk. So that's not a good idea right now. Maybe later in today.
I will probably become drunk, and that might make the questions a little more interesting. We'll see.
Right. Go for it.
All right. Well, everyone, yes, you can, I guess, have.
Then we can cheers.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah.
You do not see the difference.
Well, everyone, cheers.
Cheers.
So, Patrick, this is, you mentioned your first time in Japan.
Yes, I have been amazed running through the city, how quiet it is, how beautiful the trees are. It's been an amazing experience to be here, right?
I'm glad to hear that. When did you arrive in Japan?
I arrived on Monday, so in the afternoon. Yeah.
Oh, so right from Monday, then we had our speakers dinner, then Tuesday, and then now.
Yes.
It's been a busy trip.
Yes, indeed. And it is 7 hours difference jet lag, so that was also interesting.
Are you feeling the effects of jet lag?
No, I can stay now for like many months.
Excellent. So you've only seen, basically, you're staying in Gotanda, which is a short walk from here. You haven't had a chance to see the rest of Japan or Tokyo. Are you looking forward to some sightseeing tomorrow and Friday?
Definitely, but I'm always scared to go around in the city, especially in a city where I don't know the language. So I am counting on you to give me a good tour in the next days.
We will have some great guidance and make sure that you see all the popular sites. So obviously Asakusa, very important place to see, and then possibly on Friday too, down to Kamakura. So I know you don't know those places, but
I like surprises.
Yeah, I think you'll like them. So I want to talk a little bit about the history of DevOps. You're known as the father of DevOps. Can you tell us, how did that happen?
So it was explained in the keynote this morning. In 2009, I started DevOps Days. I had no idea what DevOps was. I did not even know it was a thing. And just after the first event, somebody wrote a blog post, "What is DevOps? What is this thing?" And people were very excited after the first event, and they took that into other places over the world. And as such, the word DevOps was known. And I helped a lot of the initial events across the world. And so that's why people say that I'm the father of DevOps, because it feels like I'm always there to help them.
That's great. And I hear a lot of different definitions of DevOps being thrown around here in Tokyo and also the rest of the world. As the guy who, is the father of DevOps, who said, "I'm going to make a DevOps Days conference," what does DevOps mean to you?
It has been interesting. From the first event, people have been asking for a definition on DevOps. And when you remember that Agile had the Agile Manifesto, just a few lines, and people misunderstood Agile after a while, what the original intention was. And then when you had ITIL, they wrote like 15 books what ITIL was, and there was still confusion about what it was. So I never wanted to write anything down because I knew it was failing. But I think over the many years, I settled on a kind of expression that I like, is that DevOps is about breaking barriers or friction within the organization. Not just dev and ops, it could be HR, it could be legal, it could be other parts that are influencing and having friction. And all the rest, I say, is engineering. Like breaking the silos is, I think, what makes DevOps DevOps. Building a Kubernetes cluster, that is technology, that is engineering. If you're building this cluster to break a silo, then for me, it becomes DevOps. So that is the difference, how I started to explain this.
I think that's a really interesting way of looking at it. Even today, we hear that DevOps is technology. So I guess to some extent, you would say that's true.
Yes, there is a relationship between the problem we need to solve and the friction. And to solve that, sometimes we use tools. Other times, we use communication and collaboration. So that is, sometimes that is called like a solution in the socio-technical world. So socio of collaborating in the human side and the technical side, and they kind of work together to have a result. Just introducing a tool will not always have the effect if you don't talk about this. Just talking about it, it also sometimes not enough, and you have to provide a new tool or a new way of working.
Early on, did you see a lot of people just try to introduce a tool to become and achieve DevOps?
I think it depends on the background of this, of the person doing this. Early DevOps Days attendees were close to 30 years old, 40 years old. They all have lived through the pain, and they were knowledgeable that just introducing the tool was not enough. But then later on, more junior people came, and they start seeing the tools as more practices. And then obviously, as DevOps became more known, it became a profitable thing to call your tool a DevOps tool. And so the whole vendors started kicking in, which is in a way a good thing, that the vendors helped evangelizing this because they took it. But on the other hand, they also kind of made it more tooling. So there was a flip side to this synergy between both.
That makes sense. The tools and the people, obviously, you need both, but you can't have one without the other. One thing that's interesting to me is the relationship between DevOps and DevOps Days. You mentioned earlier that the term DevOps kind of came from DevOps Days, the conference. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? For example, how did you come up with the term DevOps?
At the time, there was Agile was making big waves and it was getting more important. And the system administration world was just getting used to virtualization. And the first mailing list that kind of started talking about this new way of working was called the Agile System Administration mailing list. But when I would organize a conference, an Agile System Administration Days, I found that was too long. So I thought, like, who are we putting together? Oh, the developers and the operations. And then I just called it DevOps Days. And I think on hindsight, it was important that it was not referring to a technology, but to two groups of people actually working together as such. And I think that was a difference from the traditional that would maybe more technical and call their technical conference based on the technology there.
Oh, that's really interesting. It sounds like, in order to name the conference, but more specifically to come up with a word that describes what you're doing, you just had to invent the word that was simple and easy to remember. So tell us, what were these early conferences like?
The first event got 60 people in the room. It was using mainly through Twitter because that was very new at the time. And there were a lot of people that came from either system administration, the CI/CD world at that time, and some from the Agile. So that mixture has always been there. But I think it was people more, maybe more pioneering in certain places that kind of got together because it was a very niche thing. But everybody was trying to improve this, and everybody was practitioner and had like an experience in that stuff. And I think in that way it has stayed. But again, we did not have a definition, so nobody knew what it was. But the enthusiasm of trying to fix the problems that you had, both on the different levels, that was the same. The energy was a lot also on getting immediate results after the event. It was closer to maybe like a mixture of a workshop where people were hacking, writing, discussing in that way. It's only a little bit later where it became more like talks and then kind of talking together in groups. And it became like less of a technology hands-on practitioner thing. It is still with practitioners, but part of the conference is not about you showing code to somebody else or trying to build a tool maybe too much.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, over the years, it kind of went from an informal conference to now we have a lot of different tracks. Do you think that a lot of that original feeling of the open space and open community is still present in a lot of the events?
I think it is that this conference draws people that are social in a way. And part of this has been the fact that there are open spaces, that it is not just broadcast and listening to talks and then go home. It has been important that it was a single track in the morning because we wanted to have people experience the same topic so that there could have been conversations. So that spirit kind of lived on, and people are, the community is very inclusive of new ideas. early on, we had a rule that when you submit a talk for DevOps Days, it is a talk that was not yet given at another event. So we always were pushing for new talks, new ideas, because we found it important that we kind of like surfaced the new stories. And in that, once we had the label DevOps, it helped because then we could kind of group and find them and put them together as a group. And now they are well known. And the difference, I think, is that some of the original people are looking for more advanced topics, but there's always new people coming in that are new, have never seen this, they did not have the experience, they have not lived this through. And also the world has changed. Now it's not just like one big developer group, one operational group, it is multiple teams, and so the dynamic is always changing and the topics are kind of evolving over the years.
Okay. Do you think that our this DevOps Days Tokyo conference, from what you've seen, is similar to some of the other ones? I'd be curious how you think it compares to the other ones you've attended.
Yeah, I think the openness of people talking to each other, the fact that you're all here 2 days is important. The fact that there was a networking event that was important. I think one thing that is maybe different from the rest of the world is that typically the program is talks in the morning and open spaces in the afternoon. But I've seen you do things like icebreaker and kind of getting people to talk. I know this is, you would say this is specific to maybe the culture here, but every country, whether it is in Germany or somewhere else, the first time they hear about open spaces, they would tell me, it will never work here. People do not talk to each other. And once they have that event, they understand the power of talking to each other and being a group. And it is like a self-help group where you explain your problems and somebody understands it and tries to help you through the process.
The open space, I think, is a great tool. I've participated them in English, and actually we tried doing one last year, and it was a big success for the Japanese speakers. But it kind of became challenging with the language barrier. And I wonder, when you mention you've seen them in Germany and other countries that may not speak English as the primary language, how did that work when you wanted to share ideas between different people, but they're speaking a different language?
Yes, it is a challenge. I think in general in Europe, people would switch to English as the middle language, even if not everybody is perfectly speaking this. I understand here the challenge is different, but I would encourage you to do it again. You do not have to adapt your event to foreigners. That is my idea on this. And it is also perfectly fine. Some people see an open space as a popularity competition, like how many people come to this topic, how many people come to that topic. But even if it's a topic where you're with 2 people, or even alone, it is fine. Because when is the last time you had time to think for yourself about the subject you're really passionate about? And even if you only find one person that you can talk to, you will have new ideas. So again, I encourage you to kind of do it, even if it's challenging for the foreigners, but I think it's also important for the local community that they keep in touch.
Well, we'll definitely try something again at the next event to try to incorporate the 2 languages together, because I agree. I think it's a great opportunity to share ideas. And one of the things in Japan that we find very valuable is having overseas speakers come share ideas, and introduce a lot of topics. So hopefully we can figure out a system that'll work with the language barrier as well. So changing topics a little bit, your keynote was not really too strong on DevOps. It was very heavy on AI. So as the father of DevOps, what interests you in AI?
The interest has, for me personally, been a while from the media side of things. So I was very much into images and video. Then it kind of exploded into more text now with the Gen AI. As we're saying that we have technology and tools, and we have like the social and the people side, I have an interest both in the technology, because how it is working, but I'm also very interested how this will impact the way we work, the way we collaborate, and the way kind of we organize ourselves in companies around this new technology and the impact it has. So for me, it has both sides on, socio and technical. And for me, the fact that it is related to DevOps is, one is about kind of automating and doing a better job, and the other one is also like how we can do all the practices and break the silos, maybe now not with the developers, but with the data science team and other teams. So for me, it is very much in line with a broader concept of DevOps.
That's interesting. One thing that I think of when I think of AI is that it kind of almost creates a barrier between people, because now you have the machine doing all of the work. I think about maybe a self-checkout register is, a customer is interacting with a checkout machine instead of a person. How does AI contribute and help to DevOps and increase collaboration when the machine is doing a lot of the work?
Yes. So for me, when I think the impact of DevOps in the engineering is, it will help us on the product side to have better IDs or generate more IDs. Then once we have those IDs, we can build them using AI, and what we learn is that it will only help with a portion of our time, which is the technology and the programming, but we can actually spend more time discussing whether it is the right feature and kind of look at the value of the feature. And then the same thing with the testing, writing tests is, you can see it as a technology, but a lot of the times writing tests is actually discussing the domain that it's supposed to do. So if we can delegate the technical writing of the test to a machine, but we can spend more time on discussing what it actually needs to be, or all the cases, then it frees up time. And we can go on, whether that is now in the deployment, if it can take away some of the work we do, and we have more time for other things. What I learned is, over the years, automation has been a strong narrative in DevOps. And early on, everybody said, well, with all that automation, we will not have a job anymore. Like 15 years later, we still have a job. We just do different things and more abstract things, and we think higher on the concepts. And maybe AI will help us there as well. Take away some of the pain, take away some of the time that we are spending on things that could be automated, and then actually discuss all of our time with the business and what it's supposed to do and the value it brings. So it will maybe tip it. I understand that people are scared if part of your job is only to write YAML files and you're happy about this. Of course, that is, going to impact your job. But if you're thinking about yes, I want to have a collaboration, I want to talk to people about the right thing, how we're doing, because a lot of engineering is actually talking to people and not the technology building.
So what you're saying is you're not really worried about AI sort of taking everyone's job away, but more changing people's job into doing something different.
Correct. I am afraid about AI on the incidents and the security and the impact it will have, but that is a different topic. Maybe that's where the new jobs will be created.
One thing I'm curious about, I'm still trying to understand the relationship between DevOps or maybe software development at large and the relation of AI. Can you give some concrete examples of where AI is going to help in software development as a whole? Like,
Yeah.
for example, maybe in a specific example of testing.
So imagine you have code and people who have left the company and you still have to maintain that code. There's a lot of context that was taken away when that person left. Imagine that context is more captured thanks to AI that can surface part of the history and the reasons and why all this has done. So it's like that would be in a way that it creates like a memory of things that have happened around the code, and it is an easier way and more automated way to track all this context. And then by asking it questions, we can kind of dig into that history and do a better job. Now think about this, that we have one developer that we kind of create all the context that it does. You have knowledge on the team level, and then you have knowledge on the company level. So every time somebody leaves, somebody is new, they have to relearn, they have to see what is happening. So imagine then almost like your personal assistant giving you that feedback on, we tried this, it did not work because of those reasons, instead of us repeating it over and over again. Also, when new people come into the company, they have like a training or an education that they have to go through. So what about going through this your own pace and helping people understand how we do things around here? And on the flip side, if I put in a certain governance or certain rules we have in the company, then I can help you kind of understand those rules better during your job while you're doing this, instead of dumping this everything on you that you don't remember. So there's various bases, and I think the evolution could be, the value could be created is that we get better at a certain knowledge management thanks to AI of capturing a lot of data and then making it more accessible in a human way of that knowledge.
So kind of to summarize then, where AI can help is in sort of that vast data mining or data capture of all of the complex history with the code, with maybe issues, and sort of mining all of the internal data. Maybe like how a search engine or ChatGPT mines the internet and gives us those answers, you're saying AI will kind of mine our code bases and look for maybe issues in Jira or whatever to try to give us that same history?
Yes, and it will kind of help us educate ourselves if we don't understand it. And then using that knowledge, it will also help us do a better job, or maybe also make it understand the more global context on where we are operating is, which we are not able to see if we only do our own job. So that is bringing broader context in the environment.
That's pretty interesting. Now, when I've used a little bit of AI, primarily, ChatGPT, probably like everyone else here, and I've seen some of the results of things like Copilot, the code generation tools that are now built into, Visual Studio, GitHub, and so on. I have to say I'm not super impressed. I mean, let me step back. I'm impressed by what it can do, but I'm not necessarily impressed with the errors that come up. For example, a lot of the code is mined from Stack Overflow, where there could be a lot of errors, security vulnerabilities, inefficiencies. If that's the case, how does that make the role of the software developer to know what is correct and what is incorrect if the AI just does everything?
Yes, I think you have to make a difference between something that has been trained on generic knowledge, like a GPT. So they are like taking the whole range of the internet and trying to understand this. What you see now is that you will have more focused models that have been very much trained on specific things. And instead of just using Stack Overflow and having all examples, maybe these will be examples that vendors or kind of curated examples by, Node.js or TypeScript or like specific documentation that is used for the training. So the curation of that data is going to be important. But now, for example, it's hard to have a machine consumable standard way of having documentation. So if every of the vendors starts doing this, we could easily get that better result in there. And then when we have a curated, like open source examples or like well curated by some experts, we will get better results. But if you just crawl the internet without filtering, that is going to be a problem indeed. And additionally, these models do not take into account versioning of like software, and that is another problem. So you have to make almost say like we're using version A, B, and C of the different products, and that it knows in a way what to filter away and then start asking the right questions. So there's a lot of work going on, but it's not going to be visible in a ChatGPT, but it is work being done.
So it sounds like there's a ways to go, and the future isn't necessarily ChatGPT in the way that we do work, but maybe years from now we'll be introducing AI in a lot more of these conversations that we're having about technology and software development.
Yes, I think it's natural that we try these things right now, and when they don't work, we dismiss them. But we have to understand that this is going so fast that people are trying to solve this. And if you look at back, GPT just came out. We were all amazed what it can do. And now a year and a half later, we can run this on our laptop with the same quality. And that speed is just insane. Will it keep going, the speed? I don't know. That was one of the questions during the keynote. But it is, a lot of improvement can still be made.
I look forward to it. I think it'll be an interesting topic in future years. So I have so many more questions, but I would definitely like to open up and see what questions folks in this room have, but also in the other room over there. We can't see anybody if they're raising their hand, so hopefully we'll be able to get some help asking questions there. But at first, who's got some questions? Let's start in here. Just put your hand up if you've got a question or if you're thinking of something, and we'll come and ask something. Ah, perfect.
Hello, thank you for the time. I think DevOps, as you mentioned, was the beginning of something that changed the industry, the organization. The name, choosing this name was important, something simple, something catchy. And I think that just began a Cambrian explosion of namings. Now I start hearing DevOps, SecOps, DevSecOps, MLOps, and in your initial presentation, you also were mentioning RagOps. So I think I was just wondering, what are your thoughts regarding the future of DevOps as a naming convention?
Yeah, it's a good question, and the way that I think about this is over the years, we've brought more solutions to different parts of the friction in the organization. So for me, it is fine that we brought the sec people along, and then we call it like biz, because there's, and then you can say HR, and that is perfectly fine. Some would call it like dev asterisk ops, like Death Star ops. You put whatever in there, and I think that is the right mentality. Whether people are going to stay using this term, I don't know, but sometimes I would say the fact that we now have a separate community around DevOps and DevSecOps is an anti-pattern in a way that we should just be part of Agile, because it is not that different. It's just a set of different practices, but people want to belong to a certain community. And whenever there's a new name or something, or like whether that's SRE, a platform, there is a tendency to look for the new thing, because the old thing, it's not that it's bad, but that they understood this. And that's just human nature, how this evolves. But the concept, I once said it when people ask me about the future. I always get the questions like about the future. DevOps is like a meme, right? It will survive as a cultural and the way people think. Sometimes it will go down in attention and you don't see it again, and all of a sudden there will be a cult that like raises it again. Yeah, that has been going on for many of those kind of waves we have on the industry. It's not that they were bad ideas, but the context changes. It was in one of the talks, the world changes. So it is perfectly fine if there is a new name for this. But I think the fact that we now have come at this point is that we'll keep doing in the way it goes. Maybe people feel like, oh, we have enough collaboration and we go back to the silos. I made it, when people talk to me about silos, and I tweeted about this, is that when people talk about silos, I congratulate them that they are now the perfect autonomous team. So it is a thin line in how you look at these things in a new way or not in a new way. Thank you for the question.
That's a great question, thank you. I think I saw another, oh, perfect. Yeah, we'll get your question.
Hi, thank you. So I think it was Sasha's session where I was looking at some of the pictures, and she mentioned about the elephants having, it was AI generated photo, and it had an additional tusk or something, or a trunk, I think it was. So I was just curious, you're there. So I was thinking about it too, and I was thinking, well, that's very obvious to the human, right? You see it visually. But what about, especially on the operational side, if there's slight, you're trying to utilize AI, potentially could there be some sort of difference or some mistake, obviously, where it didn't really interpret the intention, and you get the end result not being so awesome, if you know what I mean. Like it's,
yes.
I'm just thinking.
So will AI make mistakes? Yes, right? I will counter your example with, have you ever approved a PR that proved to be bad? Yes. So it is when you understand what you're seeing and you're paying attention. So I mentioned in the keynote, there's like the instant verification of the result, where you're like, okay, this seems good, this is okay, this is not okay. But sometimes it could be as simple as a comma that is missing and you did not see it, but that would be the same if a human submitted that to you. But if you're delegating it too much trust, what have we learned about doing things, putting things in production that we don't know are going to work? We build layers of defense against it. We put test frameworks around us. We made sure that it's not one system that fails, but there's partitioning. So very much those same defense techniques will be used to kind of like safeguard us from our colleagues and AI.
I guess that's true, yeah. I mean, to us, an additional comma isn't a big deal, but a computer would notice that right away. Whereas for us visually, an additional, trunk is very obvious to us.
Yeah, indeed.
Thank you.
Wait. Yeah, we'll get the microphone. And before that, I just want to check if we have any questions, because I can't see anyone's hands in the Japanese room. So it'd be good to know who's holding up their hand there, and maybe if somebody has a question in Japanese, maybe we could hear that one first, and then come back here. So
Okay.
will you ask a question in Japanese? Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do that, and we can.
アレックスさん、翻訳をお願いします。
頑張ります。大丈夫です。
DevOps に取り組むということは、もう、特にサイロを壊すというようなことは、組織の文化だったりとか、非常に勇気がいることになっていることだなと思います。パトリックさんが、ずっと DevOps を実践し続ける上で、気をつけているマインドセットやスタイルのようなものは何かあるんでしょうか？
Yes. So, is there a strategy that I think of when I see think about the DevOps context in a company? The first thing I would do is I would start mapping the system of who talks to who. And the second thing is I would try to understand the biggest bottleneck. So sometimes it is not in Dev and Ops, but it is in the hiring strategy. So it is about seeing the biggest blocker in the whole kind of system. Depending on where you are in the company, you have visibility on this or not. Sometimes you are in a team and you do not see outside of your team what is the bottleneck. But then you have to talk to the others to find out where in the system the problem is that is actually blocking you. So do not just stay within your own bubble, but try to do this mapping outside. The challenge then is if your bottleneck is outside your control, is that you cannot do anything about this. But the only way you can do something about this is to talk to that person and find a joint benefit of that group solving it for them and taking away a pain and taking it away for you. But once you kind of solve that bottleneck, you have to do the same exercise again and find the next bottleneck. And that is part of the strategy that I try to do. If you just look at all the things that are blocking you, you will be paralyzed because there are too much. Just find the one that is blocking you the most and then just start going down. Yeah.
Thank you. And I know we have a question back there too. Yes.
So you said that DevOps is about breaking down the organizational silos so that different teams can work together to accomplish shared goals. And I thought that was very interesting. But it made me think, it seems that with the talk that you gave today, and with the recent trends of the industry, that actually there's a new level happening here where rather than breaking down silos between different people, now we're talking about breaking down silos between people and AI. And do you think that this is DevOps as well, or is this like a new thing where rather than talking about breaking down silos between people on different teams, we're now talking about breaking silos down between people and AIs?
I did not think about that way, that we're breaking down the barriers for AI. But I see part of my talk was that we're reducing the friction of delivering the AI, not the friction of AI and the humans, the delivery of AI solutions. That was part of my talk. But there is a truth in there that I mentioned, that people are afraid of the AI. And understanding the AI and demystifying what AI means and the limits of AI, so they can start mitigating it, as the other question was, like, make sure that we understand what it is so we can build around this in our architecture. That is definitely, a good point that you make there, that, bridging that gap of understanding between the two. Bringing AI closer, again, it can be scary, and that's what I mentioned, like, things can go wrong if they know too much about us. But it could also be helpful in other ways, that it is, if it knows a lot of us, then it can also do good things. But isn't that with all technology, could do bad things, like even, remove file could be good, it could be bad. So, but the effects could be disastrous for a company in both sides. So, but thanks for the question.
Thank you. So we've got time for a couple more questions, and I know we have at least one question in this room. Is there anybody in the other room who wants to ask a question? We'll be able to hear the translation come through if anybody is raising their hand in there. So we'll give you a moment, but otherwise, let's take another question in here.
Thank you. As time moves on, and fingers crossed, humans will continue to gain employment in the tech field. As they join organizations who have, once again, fingers crossed, successfully adopted DevOps practices and dissolved all the silos and are working harmoniously and productively, do you have any vision of a post-DevOps, a post-change world that those young people might inhabit and work in? I think my question might be partially answered from other questions and your responses, but I'm just curious. Thank you.
So what I see is that there is a certain paradox at work all the time. If you are unsafe, you will care about security. If you are then become safe, you care less about security. And so if we care a lot right now to bring this up to a level, after a while, we stop caring about this. So it is there's like always like a downside that will happen because of people not having the experience. I told about people in their 30s and their 40s who have lived through the pain. And if you don't live through the pain, you might think that, the opposite way is the way out of your problems. On-prem, not on-prem. So you kind of keep going in this, yeah, indeed. So that is a hard thing, and that's maybe the knowledge could help in that keep us faster, that we don't have to learn. But I think, Sasha mentioned it, during dinner, learning, and, you can tell a child so much as advice, but it is not until they experienced it that they actually understand what you mean. So that will keep going on in the industry, I think, as well. And you already see, like, why do we need this build pipeline? Why can we not? So you see people who are not being used to this problem. Why do we need the ops team? Why do we need this? And it is only natural because it is like a learning and an unlearning of the situation.
Thank you.
Excellent, thanks. I heard one, on Discord, somebody mentioned they have a question in Japanese, so we'll hopefully be able to hear that come through with the interpreters, but we're not sure. We didn't test that first, in retrospect. Maybe we should have tested that. But I don't think, maybe we didn't work that out. So I guess we'll wrap up with one more question in here if anyone wants to have a final question. Looks like you have your hand up first. So, yeah.
Can you hear me? Yep, so this is my first DevOps Day ever. It's a great conference. Thank you for inviting me. So my question is that you said that DevOps is more about the practice of collaboration, breaking down silos and stuff. But from where I come and from my past experiences, I've seen that DevOps has always been about the tools. Like if I want to become a DevOps engineer, I need to know Docker, deployment, stuff like that. So for being a good DevOps engineer or being in the DevOps team, what is the sort of ideal mix of skills, like soft skills, technology? What is the ideal mix of skills anyone should try to learn in order to be an effective person in the DevOps community, not just learning about deployment and the tools and stuff? That's what
I think we had a talk by Matt Simmons on thinking about this as a product, and then he told us, you're all now CEOs of running a company, and running a company is a part technology, it is marketing, it is selling what you do, it is talking to your customers, it's understanding and supporting, right? So if you're just doing the technical part, you can do this, but if you want to move into your career, you will have to grow in all the other parts as well. And that is also typical in the individual contributor track. Is a misconception is that people think you're becoming more and more experienced in the technology, but in essence, you're becoming more and more experienced in communication and collaboration, and you just find the right people to help you with that. So that is, I think, the evolution in that way.
Thank you very much. Well, Patrick, this was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us for the interview. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
I would also like to thank the interpreters who have been working very hard all day to translate for us from English into Japanese. And from here, we're going to take a brief break, and then we'd like everyone to come back into here for the closing. And before you do that, please make sure to fill out that speaker survey form. Make sure to get the QR codes from the doors. We would really, really like everyone's feedback on the sessions and the event as a whole. And as we mentioned in the beginning, if you fill it out, you can win some wonderful prizes. So please fill it out and fill it out for sessions that you've attended. And we'll be wrapping up in just about 6 minutes or so.
Sorry, if you know, how long will this form be open? Because I'd love to give feedback to everyone, but I don't think there's time.
Oh, great question. So the question is, how long will the form be open? We'll keep it open indefinitely, and we'll even mail it out afterwards, but fill it in soon, and then we'll start doing some prize drawings. So, yes. So thank you, everyone. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, I think we are ready. Are we ready? So today it was great. It was great day 2, and we really appreciate everyone coming out again for another great event.
はい、お待たせいたしました。2日間のイベントのクロージングを開始したいと思います。一つお断りしなくてはいけないんですけれども、皆さんご期待の笹さんが急遽出れなくなってしまったので、未熟者ですが私もが代行させていただきます。ありがとうございます。
Yes, thank you so much for filling in for Sasa-san. He had to leave to go back home early, but it's very exciting to be able to close this together with you. So thank you. Thank you.
では一番最初にお知らせからいきたいと思います。今回のセッションはすべて録画されております。で、頑張って多分来週ぐらいには展開できるかなと思っていますので、ディスコードをお待ちください。
So we're going to be doing our absolute best to get the videos posted to the Discord channel next week. So that's where they'll be available.
で、注意事項がありまして、毎回同じくなんですけれども、このディスコードで来週展開される URL については、外部にシェアはなしでよろしくお願いします。
Please do not share the URLs that we give out in the Discord chat. They'll private for just the attendees primarily.
今回参加された方のお友達と一緒に内容を見るのは OK です。
Of course, totally fine to watch together with your friends and inside the company, though.
で、最終的には近い将来URL を一般公開する予定ですので、他の方にはそこまでお待ちいただくということになります。
Yes, and again, please don't share too widely. So, thank you.
では恒例のメンチメーターです。皆さんよろしくお願いします。
Just like we did this morning, please join back to Menschmeter because we are going to do our best to get your feedback. Oh.Look at this. We already are getting the thumbs up and the good
いいですね。どん
button.
どん参加されてますね。
Oh, how many so far?
29、
Fast.
37、38。
Oh, that's fast. That's great.
今朝50ぐらい行ったんですよね。もう50超えま
Already
したね。
there. Wow.
早い
All
早い。
right. Well, I think that means we can continue.
OK。次行きますね。じゃあ早速ですが、あえて朝と同じ質問を聞いてみたいと思います。DevOps と聞いて思い浮かぶことは何ですか？
Yeah, so we asked this in the morning too, but after today, what do you think of? What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of DevOps?
ツール。
Let's see. Oh, it's changing.
変わってきましたね。
Breaking silos.
笹健太。そこは変わらないですね。
Collaboration. Anti-fragile.
サイロを壊す。
Oh. Collaboration culture is coming up. That's great to see. Tools.
追いつかないですね。
Now we can see
オ
it.
ッペンハイマー出てますね。はい。
Pattern language. Also, it's changing. It looks like our understanding and meanings of DevOps has changed a little bit since this morning.
あとはやっぱり講演を聞いた影響で気になるポイントとか理解が変わってきてるのかなっていう感じがしますね。ちなみに今朝どういう言葉が多かったか覚えてますか？
Do you remember what we talked about it this morning? Anyone remember the big picture and slide? Let's take a look.
見てみましょう。じゃん。
Culture.
カルチャー。
Really big.
文化ですね。
Also, Sasa-san.
Sasa-san 強い
Big
ですね。
part of DevOps, but after today, maybe we realize not DevOps. But
じゃあ次行きます。はい。では、このイベント全体の満足度をお答えください。
yeah, what do you think of today's event? Overall satisfaction and feeling about the event. Oh, we're getting some good, excellent feedback. Mostly excellent. And I'm, oh,
こ
yeah.
れそうそうですので、笹じゃないです。はい。
Yeah, not sasa, so-so. Yeah. So great. That's really good to see. Yeah, we're happy to see that it was excellent.
じゃあ次いきます。じゃあ今度はフリーフォーマットで感想、コメントお願いします。
Now let's just start reading off your free comments and just share what you thought about the event, whether you're on Discord or anywhere. Yeah, what did you think so far? I have a feeling we're going to see something about bento first.
どのお弁当が美味しかったですか？
I think the most delicious bento was probably the sukiyaki.
安定のすき焼き弁当ですね。私この期間特別弁当を食べて美味しかったですね。
Yeah, we're glad.
草餅が入ってて。お、来ました
Oh
来ま
wow,
した
there's a lot good experience in learning.
おー、DevOps の歴史を知った、賑やかだった。
Oh, we ran out
たくさん
of.
褒めてもらった。
Very sorry for running out of beer.
パターンランゲージのお話難しかったですね。確かに。
To avoid the gaijin bubble. I wonder what that means. Overall good experience and organized.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you everyone for the feedback. This is very helpful. Yeah, that's great to hear. And
ありがとうございます。
Yes.
なるほど、素晴らしい。
Thank you.
すき焼き弁当最高出ました。More coffee.
more coffee. More coffee. We had a lot of coffee. More. Okay, next year more coffee.
そうですね。いろいろなセッションがあって本当に刺激になりましたよね。はい、ありがとうございます。
Thank you. The coffee was delicious. I did see that. Thank you for the to the coffee team for
カフ
preparing.
ェティーム
it.
一人あそこにいらっしゃいますね。
Ah,
ありがとうございます。
yes, thank you. Very delicious.
もう一人はちょっと見当たらないですけど、見つけたらまた拍手します。じゃあ次、学習したことですね。これは得られたなっていうことをご記入お願いします。
Yeah, what was your takeaway? If you had to say one thing, what was your takeaway with our event?
AI.
AI. That was a big. I was
ABM.
surprised at AI this time.
You take on the buzzword.
Sake is good. Yes. We did have a nice sake tasting at the networking party. I see EBM. What's EBM? Events-based management. Oh, evidence-based management. It's a good takeaway.
トランクベース開発。パターンランゲージ。
More communication. I think that's an important.
パターンランゲージ完全に理解したっていうのがきらめいてますね。
Anti-fragile, again, I think that was a great topic to have. So very glad that we could add that to the mix this year. And boy, I'm seeing DevOps, AI, and EBM as a strong takeaway for this year. Oh, that's great to see.
ユートピアも出てますけど、ここだけ切り取ると何のイベントだったんだろうっていう感じですが、はい、ユートピアも結構良かったですよね。はい、理想郷だけじゃダメだっていう話ですよね。じゃあ次いきます。じゃあ皆さんテイクアウェイ持って帰るものがあったので、明日からじゃあまず何かトライすることありますか？ちっちゃいことでもいいので書いてください。書きする。
Wow, that was fast. Yeah. What are you going to do tomorrow? You know, anything, even the small stuff is okay. So, good. Yeah. The peer.
Sleep.
Yes, that's okay. That is a good small thing. I think that's a nice thing to try. English, great. Good thing to try.
確かに英語もっと勉強したいと思ったって言ってる人たくさん見かけました。
Yeah, if you want to study English, please do so, and then come next year to do more networking and maybe an open space in English.
社内でワイワイもいいですね。意識的に取り込むっていうのが。
Oh, feature hub. Talk to my boss. I think that's a good way to get ideas moved in the company. That's great. Rest. Yes, I think we all need some of that. Oh, this is great. I see English studying is a big topic. So excellent. Please, everyone, do your best.
はい、皆さんコメントありがとうございます。はい、というわけで、このイベントですね、多くの皆様のご協力によって、成り立っていますし、こんなふうに毎年成功を収めさせていただいております。ということで、感謝の場でございます。スポンサーの皆さん、ありがとうございます。
Thank you so much to the sponsors.
はい、ロゴスポンサーの皆さん、ありがとうございます。
And to the logo sponsors too, thank you.
参加者の皆さん、ありがとうございます。
Thank you to everyone for coming and making this event possible.
はい、スピーカーの皆様、ありがとうございます。
Thank you, speakers.
ボランティアの皆さん、ありがとうございます。
Thank you, everyone.
はい、そして裏方で働いてきたスタッフの紹介をしたいと思いますので、スタッフの皆さん前へお願いします。
We'd like to introduce you to all the volunteers and staff that made our event possible. So everyone, come on up and we will introduce and
いや、イントロデュースはしない。
oh,
自己紹介はしないですね。みんなでお辞儀して解散ですが。
not introduce, but say hi. Yeah.
どうぞどうぞ。スタッフお願いします。どうぞどうぞ。上がってください、上がってください。
どうぞ。
写真撮りたい放題ですので、皆さん撮ってください。はい。どうぞ上上がってください。あれ？どうぞどうぞ前。
Thank you, everyone, for making such a great
皆さんありがとうご
event.
ざいました。じゃんじゃん進めていきたいと思います。はい。はい、全員で、今回ですね、スポンサーの皆さんもスタッフも全員入れて324名、オンライン、オフライン、
Great numbers this year.
す
Thank
ごい人
you.
数。来年の話をすると鬼が笑うわけですが、訳せます？
Yeah, we haven't yet figured out the exact date for next year, but sometime in April is what we're planning. Similar timing.
海外からいらっしゃる方は今からすぐにフライトのチケットを取っておいてください。
Yeah, make sure to get your tickets soon as we announce the dates and figure it out.
はい、日程は決まり次第発表します。日程は決まり次第。
Yeah, we'll decide it very soon. So.
で、最後にみんなで集合写真を撮りたいんですけれども、さっきみたいにここに並んで、その前に。
We're going to take a group photo of everyone because remember, we have to send DevOps Zurich a good morning picture. But before then, we need to give away the fantastic prizes for today.
はい、今日の商品を、当選者を発表していきたいと思います。14人が何かしら当たります。何が当たるかというのを先に説明しておきます。
Here are what the wonderful prizes will be. Please explain.
そうか。 まずですね、3人ずつ名前を呼んでいきますので、さっさと進めたいと思いますので、3人ずつ名前を呼びますので、この商品が欲しいという方は前に出てきてください。それからオンラインで参加されている方で、後で送ってほしいという方は、ぜひ、Zoom で反応してください。
We'll call out your name and then you can come up and choose. I don't know how you'll choose, but you'll pick one of the wonderful prizes and take it. Or if you're from Zoom, you'll just announce it. So.
で、商品の説明となります。はい。一番大人気のグランドプライズです。ツナマヨネーズのおにぎりになります。
Famous Japanese onigiri, tuna mayo flavor.
これは2つありますので、2人の方に当たります。はい、
Two.
海外では手に入りません。2つ目ですね、シュプリームプライスということで、はい、スピーカー用の T シャツ3枚、はい、3名の方に当たります。
We have 3 of these speaker T-shirts that you can take.
はい、次が書籍になります。はい、DevOps ハンドブック3名の方、そしてフェアレスチェンジ3名の方、それぞれ非常に有名な方のサイン付きでございますのでご期待ください。
They are the Japanese editions of the books, so if you didn't understand that, you probably won't want them, unfortunately. But they're really good books, so please get them in English if you haven't already.
で最後ですね、はい、今はここにはいらっしゃらない笹さんの写真が写っていますが、はい、ベビースターに合うお酒というコンセプトで作られた日本酒とベビースターセットで2名の方に当たります。
This is an amazing collaboration between Baby Star Ramen and Japanese sake. You wouldn't think it's a combination, but just like Dev and Ops, it fits beautifully.
あとでですね。
And
あともう一つ
last but not least,
八海山
bonus
はい、
Japanese sake.
一番反応が良かった。大吟醸になります。はい。はい、海外に戻られる方もですね、税関通る前に飲み切れるサイズにしております。はい、
Hopefully you can take the small one home if you're traveling overseas. So.
はい、というわけで、皆さん自分がもし当たったらどれを選ぼうかは決まりましたでしょうか？
Do you know what you would want if you're luckily to be called? We will start finding out who we call.
じゃあ画面共有は停止しまして、名前を読み上げていきますので、名前を呼ばれた方は前にお越しください。
Okay, so let's start calling some names. Who is prize winner number 1?
のりゆき船場様さん。おめでとうございます。眩しい。2人目お願いします。
Patrick Kelso. Patrick?
No here?
Oh, no Patrick Kelso.
3人目、ケンジ松締様。
Kenji Matsume.
No?
No.
4人目。
Augustine Lin. I think I saw him earlier. Augustine, where?
He's left.
He had to leave early. Okay. Next up is Alexander B. Oh, come on up. So first, come on up and please select.
細かい儀式とかないので好きなやつ取っててください。
Yeah. What will you choose? DevOps handbook. Nice. Speaker T-shirt. Wow.
Patrick? 同じ。本当だ。グエルのグラカレスさん。はい。翔太岩見さん。おめでとうございます。
T-shirt. No,
フゼファーハン
did you see the onigiri? Saving it for someone else. Very nice.
ネイル・ウォーカーさん。No? ネイル・ウォーカーさん。
Neil.
Neil.
Neil Walker. Neil Walker. He's missing out on tuna mayo.
Next. はい。
Yamazaki.
山崎メープルさん。ありがとうございます。
It's tuna mayo.
ワンチン。
Oh, DevOps handbook. Nice. Great choice.
Again, ワンチンヤンさん。
Wan Ching Yang.
No?
No.
No here?
Not here.
Okay.
Renato. Renato? Renato!
まだありますね。国定亮太さん。はい。
Tuna mayo. Also good choice.
なんて読むんだろ
Oh,
う。
good choice. Fearless change.
ありがとうございます。斉藤一王さんですかね。
Oh,
ありがとうございます。
Saito-san. I think he'll take the tuna mayo. Not yet. Saving the best for last. Already, maybe. Naresh. I know. Naresh.
Congratulations. It's difficult to choose.
Okay, it is tuna, so I know you're vegetarian, and you'll pass. That's why. Sorry, we didn't get. Great choice. Baby Star Collaboration Ramen.
夏子内山さん。ありがとうございます。
Ooh. What do you choose? Baby Star, Tuna Mayo, Fearless Change. No, sorry, no T-shirts. But there's Tuna Mayo. Nice choice.
ズームにコメントが来てるから。
We have a comment on Zoom.
ケンジ松姫さん、ズーム参加。すいません、今気づきました。
So
す
what?
ごい。
So-
今、残っているのがですね。
Maybe the book?
はい。
We could send him a.
そうですね、ツナマヨがちょっと。
We could. It's
残念
overnight
ですので、
delivery.
はい、送れないので。
Best,
日本
yeah.
酒か書籍ですね。I want a book ということで本。
Yes. Easiest to send.
正しい選択だったと思います。ありがとうございます。
Only two
残り
prizes
2つで
left.
すね。
Uh,
広川さん。
Hirokawa. Oh. Hirokawa.
最後どちらを選ぶかって結構
Two.
次の方を呼んでしまうと気を使っちゃうから次の方呼ばないです。
Tuna mayo or the tuna. Tough choice. Baby Star Collaboration.
すごい。
We have a surprise
じゃあさ
T-shirt
さっき
left.
T シャツ欲しいって言ってた方、泣く泣くですけども、はい、商品交換可能でございます。ツナマヨ来た。ツナマヨが戻ってきた。
Great news. We have
やばい。
two grand prizes left. I'm very excited. So who are our lucky two winners? Karis.
カールスさん。
Karis.
カールス。
Karis. Oh, he already won. Yeah. Masami Ida. Masami Ida.
いらっしゃらないかな。ズーム見てみますね。まさみ飯田さん、ズーム参加者です。申し訳ありません。
Yeah, sorry, we can't send
おにぎり2つしかないので。
Yeah, no, we
残念です。
can't. No, onigiri over Zoom. Just not. We can't do it. It's a technical problem. So
来年ぜひオンサイト来てください。
please come next year. Then you can win fabulous prize.
はい。では次ですね。育夫さんですね。
育夫さん。
どちらのツナがいいか選んでいただければ。
Yeah.
いや、どっちかな。
There's left and right.
シフトレフト。
All right. Shift left.
しかも今食べちゃう。最後やりづらい。
I think.
この人まだですよね。岩見翔太さん。
岩見翔太さん。
さっき当たりましたね。じゃあ。じゃあ。
And then, I think Wei Sen Wang did. All the way from Taiwan. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Well, congratulations to all the winners. So from here, I think we will do our greetings to DevOps Zurich picture. So everyone,
じゃあみんな
gather up
で
here.
真ん中前に集まって写真を撮りましょう。
Let's do a big
で
picture.
DevOps チューリッヒの方にもその写真を送ろうということで、はい、よろしくお願いします。でこの写真はウェブでもシェアしていくと思いますので、どうしても顔を出せない諸事情がある方はこうやってください。はい。
ちょっと下げますか。
Oh, this is looking like a great picture. That is. Yeah, up in front. Okay. Oh. 笹のよ。
DevOps 的に。
Okay. Are we ready?
前に寝転んで、最初に寝転ぶ人が必要。
Hey everyone, 3, 2, 1, DevOps! All right, thank you! Thank you everyone for coming. What a fantastic event. Thank you.
皆さんご協力ありがとうございました。降りるとき足気をつけてくださいね、段差が。